And I would like to say thanks for tuning in to Keeping It Real Talk Show. And today I have a guest by the name of Minister Anthony Brown. And our topic today is keeping the faith. So how you doing today, Anthony?
I'm doing pretty good. I feel good.
Great. Hey, pay me no attention if I just call you Anthony, you know what I'm saying? Or Minister Anthony. Sometimes I may say Minister Anthony or Anthony. But once again, on the show, we just keep it 100.
You can call me Anthony. It's okay. That's all right.
You're right.
Some people call me.
No. Okay. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Tony, or Anthony, as you introduced me, and I came to know the Lord after a struggle through my life. I believe, as growing up, my mother and father had me in the church. Actually, my dad was stationed in Holland, and the first time I went to a church was actually a Methodist church, and we got a picture of that with a guy baptized me then. And then I went through preschool, Christian preschool. We came here to America, moved to Fort Walton Beach. I ended up going to a church there. Every Sunday I had to go. But there was something about church that I didn't like.
Right.
I didn't like going sitting in one spot. May have something to do with just my character makeup of who I am just as a person. I was classified as a child, with ADHD and behavior problems. I was adopted too, but the Lord gave me the best parents for me. My mother and father, they are just wonderful people, and they don't have other children. It's just me. And so I was a child that was rebellious. But I remember I always used to think when I was sitting in the principal's office, like, I don't want to be here. I want to be like Mark over here or Mike over there. That's good grades. Why I can't get good grades? I could never really understand that. And so, of course, being rebellious would lead up to other things going on wrong in your life. When you are rebellious to your parents, it opens the door up for you to be attacked by the enemy.
That's right.
So I got into the streets. I got into listen to, at that time it was NWA, and so that mentality where I got to just keep it real, never PG.
Yeah.
So they got into the mindset of disrespecting authority.
Right.
It was actually and the Bible talks about obeying authority.
That's right.
So everything that I was getting into, and I guess rebellion is like the Bible says to witchcraft.
Witchcraft. That's right.
And so it goes to follow that I got into drugs. You see how everything links.
Right.
And that's the thing now. When I look back at it, I say, man, God's word is true.
Right.
Because I can see how He says these things link, and that's how it was.
Right.
Well, then I ended up getting incarcerated. I been to prison actually 6 times. A lot of people don't know that, but I was be considered as sociologists or psychologists would say, he was a career criminal. I read a report one time where it was said that he would be a waste of life.
Right.
They consider people. I actually read that. One thing I always could do was read and comprehend, and so I used to like to read, especially more nonfiction than fiction. So I like to learn about things. And when I read that report, I got kind of angry because I wonder why my life had to be a waste of life.
Right. That's right.
Why did I have to be this? Why couldn't I be Mike or Mark? So, as I went through life, ups and downs, I'm not getting into a whole bunch of war stories. On my last trip of incarceration, I was at a low point in my life.
Right.
I burnt a lot of bridges. I didn't look at myself too. I would like to say that I was close to probably retrobation.
Right.
In Romans 1.
Yeah.
I just didn't really care about too much, and I thought that I was going to be evil. And a guy came in with the Bible. And this Bible that he had was shiny with the gold around it. And I'm sitting in a cell talking to some homeboys,
Right.
And he comes in with the Bible, and I said, hey, man, where you get the Bible from? And he said, I got it from a Bible study. So I said, well, if I get this Bible, then I could probably, that'd be worth some money. So I was thinking, like, down the road, if I lose in a poker game, I can sell it actually to a Christian.
Right. Wow.
So he got me the Bible study. So I'm thinking to myself, intellectually, I know I can master these Bible studies.
Right.
Well, as I started reading the Word, the word started hitting me.
Right, definitely.
And I've been convicted before, people talk about the Bible, and then I felt like, that uneasiness, but it wasn't no surrender.
Right.
And actually, and during around this time, I had got in trouble where I had got an altercation with another inmate, and so I was on my way to confinement, which is jail. And
right, that's right. That's right.
Somebody told me one time, about that. But so. Anyway, so I end up in confinement, and I still got these Bible studies. And while I was in confinement, I actually seen who Jesus was. Here's a kicker. Back in middle school, my dad used to make me read the 51st Psalm because I was so bad. Right. So every morning before breakfast, I would sit there and read the 51st Psalm. And I'm just like, man, so every morning I'm like, drug the Bible out, cornflakes in the Bible, right? Right. And but on this day that I was in this holding cell, I started searching through the Bible. I knew it was a psalm, but I didn't remember the 51st Psalm. And in the moment that I repented and just surrendered and said, Lord, I found the 51st Psalm and prayed that to the Lord. And then it dawned on me that was God planting that seed, using my dad to plant that seed back then. That's right. Wow. So I got out of confinement. I was so happy. I was telling the lady that brought me in there, I was telling her about it. She was getting excited. She was a Christian. I was like, yeah. And I'm telling her, she was all excited. She got me some nice, you get out, you usually get some raggedy blankets and stuff. She got some nice stuff. I'm like, I was telling everybody, my homeboys, and I couldn't understand why they couldn't understand how easy it was to be saved. Right. I thought it was easy to be saved, but then as I began to read and study, I learned that the heart's blind, and we can't see until the Lord, removes that veil. Right. And so then I go through the system, and because I still had to go serve my time for the crime I committed, which drug charges and stuff. And then while I was in there, I started participating, completing Bible study. I started studying the Word. I took vocational training. I became a law clerk. I helped a few people get released. I got a pretty good success rate. I was feeling pretty good. I got trained in how to use Microsoft Office and things like that. And so I just applied myself to do good, because my dad said, it don't matter what you do when you get out, it matters what you do there, because that's what you're going to do when you That's right. That's right. X actually as an example, and we, it's okay to look at people as an example. If the example makes sense. Right. I'm not saying, the concept. But the concept that he changed and started applying himself, and he got out, and he wasn't, what is it, Chicago Red or Detroit Red that he used. Right. Because he used to be one of those, okay? He got out, he went in a hustle, he came out as this activist. And so I started applying myself, reading, not thinking I was going to, come out as an actual activist. But so I came home, and I got enrolled into college. I excelled in college. But then I came up against some struggles. Right. Now let me ask you this. Let's go back to your upbringing. Now, in your upbringing, were you brought up in the church, or were you made to go to church? How was that? I was every Sunday I had to go to church. I tried to get around it, and I got a lot of we call whippings. Right. I got a lot of whippings. Definitely connected to the church. I didn't want to be quiet. I just was doing something I had. Right. And that made me not like church more. And right now to the day, you rarely see me with the necktie. I don't want to be all punched up. Right. It's me. Right, because it's not about the clothes, you know what I'm saying? And I tell people all the time, it's about your heart. God is looking at our heart. But, a lot of times people are tied on, what you're wearing, or what you're driving, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're stuck on things more than the heart, But you said something, because, somebody, they need to hear your testimony, because, I remember what you just said. You were talking about how, your question was, Lord, why me? You know what I'm saying? Right. How come I couldn't be like so-and-so, or, why I had to end up in, prison? Why I had to take this, extended route, Right. And that means something, because, somebody today, right now, that's watching this show, they're saying, Lord, why me? So why I had to go through all of this? You was incarcerated, I heard you say, 6 times, you know what I'm saying? And 6 prison sentence.
6 prison sentences. Wow.
So I started getting incarcerated from juvenile. And so, I was in and out the system. Like I said, in the science of it, they would say,
X you out.
X me out.
Yeah.
And then
Go ahead.
So then, from that point, I thought, once I accepted Christ, everything was going to be okay. I didn't know. I still had to deal with myself.
Right.
At first, I tried to do everything right, the right way.
Right.
I tried to do everything the right way, and then I realized that it was by faith that I was saved.
Right.
Jesus Christ, it was His righteousness.
Definitely.
That I was walking in, and God seed Him, saw Him when He looked at me, and I was covered by the blood.
Right.
The penalty had been paid. Until I started getting down in my soul and my spirit, I tried to do a lot of things that try to control things.
Right.
Okay? So anyway, so in prison I had a part where I kind of some old things came up where they had the synthetic marijuana. Right. I got involved with that, and I was like, how did? And so then here's the keeping the faith part. 'Cause I'm like, well, if that's the case, then is anything real about this? But then I was reminded. But see, it's different asking that question when you know that.
Right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
If I didn't know that I knew, if I didn't know that the word is real and is real and it opened up to me and He got inside my heart, I would have failed.
Right. That's right.
I would have fell away. And then I look back and seen that all the time that he worked on me as His workmanship by putting His word into me by studying. Now, I'm gonna jump back up to today, but before that, it was times in my life where I said I just succumbed to the fact that I was going to be evil.
Right. Wow.
And so I remember, and I used to tell people in the pod that I was in, because I was in a faith-based dorm.
Right.
And they had all type of whining and bickering and complaining with people. I used to, some people didn't want to be there. I said, you know what? I said, before I accepted Christ, I couldn't be here with you guys.
Right.
I had to be somewhere where they fighting and gambling, because that was okay to me.
Right.
I didn't want to be nowhere peaceful.
Right.
And it's kind of twisted that, my mind is that it was that way, and that the Lord changed that.
Right. That's right.
And so then I come home and I think everything's going to open up.
Right.
Great. So my parents helped me out to start a business, and I brought Christian hip hop artists down. I thought it was going to be great. But then I started coming up different struggles. I came up with struggles with inside the church. Right. I came up with struggles against trying to get in college, trying to get a driver license, definitely trying to get a job. Right. Where people will look at your path and judge you by your path. And it makes sense to them. I mean, there's logic to the reason why they do that. I'm not knocking that. However, for the church, I'm reminded of two principles. One is in Proverbs when he talks about, if I become too poor, I'll steal. If I get rich, I'll forget about it. That's right. And then in 1 Corinthians, when Paul admonishes the Corinthian church to do it out for sinning, but then in 2 Corinthians, to bring them back before he gets discouraged. Right. And so, so I was really taken back by receiving rejection from the church or a ministry trying to get employment, because I was thinking they should see who I was today. Right. I'm not saying all churches are like that. All communities are like that. But from my experience, I ran against that. Right. I think that should not be so. I think definitely those principles, and Jesus even goes a little further with that. He says, even if somebody does something, you just do what's right. That's it. In spite of. That's right. So that's right. Even if I do let somebody in, now there are, we have to use wisdom. We're not going to. Somebody has a problem with this to be around that. Right. We understand that. Yeah. But now for just giving somebody a chance, I think as Christians we should definitely do that. And there should be there are churches across America that are actually getting together to help out in this area. Definitely. Hey, hold your thought. We're gonna take a break. We're talking about keeping the faith, and we'll be right back with Minister Anthony Brown.
and you're tuning into the right network.
Hi, I'm Casey, and guess what? You're tuning into the right network.
So you heard it. Keep it locked to Keeping It Real Network.
And we're back with Minister Anthony Brown on keeping the faith, and and he's talking about how it was difficult getting out of prison. So we're gonna elaborate back on that, because when you came back to the free world, I must say, in the church, you didn't expect the church, to throw up obstacles against you, and you had to go through some stuff, and pretty much you didn't think that you were saying that earlier. So let's
right, and let me make a note here. The churches in my community, there was a lot of them that were helpful.
Right.
I do understand that. So I'm not pinpointing that.
Definitely.
I do understand, but the limitations.
Right.
We're talking about the limitations.
That's it.
Or maybe some people are a little, may do things could discourage some.
Right.
There was a lot of pastors that did help me out how they could.
Right.
But then when it gets down to the core of it, how do you? The chaplain from my jail? I always talk to him because he deals with the incidents. So I'm like, well, what about when somebody come home? Who's dealing with?
Right. That's right.
Who's taking?
That's right.
An individual in that. I'm not talking about a knucklehead that just want to still be sick. I'm talking about somebody that actually who cares for the Lord, or somebody that's pushing forth the effort. How do you take that individual and help them to become a productive member of society?
Right.
Which in essence is beneficial to the family, to the church, to the community.
Definitely.
Because a person could become to a point to be discouraged. By the grace of God, I have people in place that was there for me. But through different times that I struggled, I still came where I fell into some backsliding sin sort of sense because some stuff in me that the Lord has to pull out.
That's right.
And so the faith comes in. Okay, the Lord said that He'll provide.
Right.
And so now here I'm saying, well, Lord, you're saying you're gonna provide. I can't get a job.
Right.
So my question goes. So I say, I know you're right, Lord.
Right.
So am I doing something wrong? Then the guilt comes on. Maybe I didn't talk to Elder Williams good last week. I've been wrong. So something cursing. You get into
right.
foolishness.
Yeah, definitely.
So the struggle is there to keep the faith, and so on that, I would like my plea is for communities that don't have something in place, to help out. Not just ex-convicts, but people that need help.
Right, that's right.
The church is the one that is to deal with people's inside their soul.
Right.
I'm not saying we're going to be a one-stop shop.
Right.
In a sense, yes, to be able to have programs to help people out. Right. Not only that, teach them skills.
That's it.
With the internet.
Right.
And
that's right.
There's companies that need certain skills, and this is where DuBose and Washington and stuff back, because one had said one should be in trade, and the other said you should be get educated in school.
Right.
But if they would have came together,
that's right.
Okay, you're good. You're good at trade, so we go. So we use. It's like the body of Christ.
Right.
We're going to use the whole body here. In the community, we're going to work together as churches, and we're going to do.
That's right.
Where there's laws in effect that hinder the churches, well, then you got to understand that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood.
That's right.
Things
That's right.
Faces. So we
Right.
gotta understand what we're up against.
That's right.
So
That's right.
If there's a law says anything about negligent hiring due to hiring somebody with a background that if they get in trouble that the church can be sued, then there's communities like in Texas that put in place where there's no negligence for the company.
That's right.
And so then we get together and start petitioning local communities to change laws where it won't be affected if they hire somebody.
That's right.
And we have that fear there because even though we're in the world, we're not of the world.
That's right.
So
that's right.
We're subject to the authorities, but we a lot of times what I'm seeing now is we're mixing the world with the church.
The church. That's right. That's right.
And we're getting off of focus here.
Right.
What is our passion? What is our goal? Our goal is to make more disciples.
Right.
To tell people about the gospel of peace.
Definitely.
That God sent His Son Jesus Christ, the Savior of our sin.
Right.
To make peace.
That's right. That's right.
Even though that peace is not until the end that is finally we have peace, but He came to make peace in that.
That's it.
And that's what we just share with others. And how we do that. We do that by being obedient, by treating people how we want to be treated.
Definitely.
It bothers me that I'm limited. I'm limited because I would like to help out more.
Right.
Of course, we can say a lot what we want to do before we get until we get there, but keep me, Lord, just keep me where I can control just a little bit, and let me work with it.
Right.
So now what I took, and I wrote a little book telling my testimony.
Definitely. Yeah.
And one thing, the Bible says we overcome by the blood of testimonies.
That's right.
But one thing I try not to, I'd rather give somebody the word.
Right.
Because it's the power of the gospel.
That's it.
That's going to change.
That's going to change.
I can tell you all these testimonies and stories. That's not going to change you. I remember growing up and me sitting in front of so many people telling stuff, and then if I could just change one person, let God draws them.
Thank you.
We just plant
the seed. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But you treat people with love. Right. I'm gonna give you an opportunity. I'm gonna show you something. If I got a skill here, let me show you the skill.
Right.
Let me know. It is a interesting time that we're in now.
Yeah,
and a lot has to do with the technology. And I do follow a lot of technology. I try to start some, which I'm still involved in some tech startup.
Right.
Just ran short a little bit, but there's skills that we could train people in. Right. That's needed, and it's going to be needed because of the way it's a global thing. Things is based on technology and programming and all of this. I went to speak at a juvenile home one time and asked all the kids what they wanted to be. 95% of them said they wanted to be some type of sports star. Right. And I don't knock that. Right. That's fine. If that's your ambition. Then I was somewhere else and I asked the same question. I got the same response. And it was among African American youth. Right. And then it hit me the second time. I'm like, wow, why everybody wants to be, because we see that's where the money's at and that's where the at. And to an extent there's nothing wrong, but there's skills that's needed. That's it. That we're missing out on. That we can people that know how to do these things, that they train somebody and somebody train somebody, and that they become where they're wanted, they're employable. For a ex-offender getting out, for him to learn certain programming skills, if that's his thing, then he can become employable to certain companies that need him because they're lacking that specific skill. That's it. There's ways to work on this problem, and just have to take an effort from people that care, that you want to make a change. That's right. The person made a mistake, but if you look at it, if we look at some of the Bible heroes,
they all made mistakes.
They wouldn't have been in the Bible.
Definitely.
Some of the stuff they did, you can't. Right. And we hold, David as a mighty warrior. Yeah. For God's own heart. That's right. This time he would have been convicted of murder.
Definitely.
And all these other things.
And adultery and all that.
So would it be safe to say, okay, well, David, you're not allowed in the Bible because your background?
No, my God.
You can't say that.
Right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's right.
I think my appeal is not so much towards secular. My appeal be more towards the church.
That's it.
So let's get together.
Right.
And not just, I'm not just saying because I'm an ex-offender, because if it wasn't for the people in my life to keep me,
Right.
I could see myself getting that discouraged and say,
Right.
get
Just forget
off
it. Yeah. It's not worth it. Yeah.
Because those attacks and things, and there's a lot of more issues. You have people dealing with issues that they don't know, that they don't know. I can't identify what it is,
Right.
the name of it. But and I go back to my I'm gonna leave it right here and let you ask your question. I'm gonna go back to this ADH thing, and I'm okay with it because I'm always reminded when Moses was going to talk, and he said, I can't talk, Lord.
Right.
I want Aaron to come in, and God corrected him. He said, hey, don't I make the mute?
That's it. That's
blind,
it. Right.
deaf.
Right.
I God who creates all. So I'm like, oh
my God.
So I'm like, okay, Lord, so you know who I am.
Right.
How my mind is. Now, the perfection, imperfection due to the fallen nature, fallen sin, we do know that, that's in play. But however, God wasn't surprised that I had a gift. I say it as a gift because I have a creative mind.
Right. That's right.
People can say, you're a visionary. You can see this. Because that's the mind.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Slow it down. And I get a kick out of it, but I got to be comfortable. Now, I don't want to be Mike or Mark no more.
Right.
I want to be Anthony Brown.
That's it.
Because that's who God created.
Right.
So, but how did I get to all of this? By going through these faith things where my faith was challenged. Even right now today, I speak of like employment, and I might have to move to another state,
right? Because
of they got a 7-year where they can't go back past 7 years, and so I can be no conviction on my application,
right?
I don't know if I mentioned that, but there's been time where I've been selected out of a pool of people that the manager wanted me because they felt I'd have been a good fit. But the manager gets upset because of the HR thing, and I understand laws. Right. And I understand obeying laws. But that, I guess that's what that'll be my biggest thing. Yeah.
Definitely. And you said something, and there's somebody watching, even on today, they've been counted out, but God has counted you in just because this happened or that happened, and like you were X out, you know what I'm saying? God has a purpose in mind. Sometimes we can't see it right now, you know what I'm saying? Like we was talking earlier, and and I love what you said, how you didn't allow one obstacle to deter you, you know what I'm saying, to keep you down, and just because you were caught up in this is over with, and there's somebody here today that's watching, and they say, I might well give up, I might well fold up, but you didn't give up. And great testimony, man. You didn't fold, you know what I'm saying? Even though you kept pressing, you kept pushing, didn't know, why you were going through this, or, and like we said earlier, some folks said, Lord, why me, why I had to go through this, why I had to experience what I experienced, you talked about your childhood, how you came up, and, what I'm saying, all the stuff you've been through, but God was on your side, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying? And that's what we can see.
Yeah.
And one thing, when the first time I spoke at my church, I said, anybody that God brought from death to life, got a testimony.
That's right.
And so, a lot of people think about my past, and some people know that I'm trouble I've been in, and they think that's, I'm like, you're saved.
Right.
You was dead, now you're alive.
That's it.
You was born again. That's a miracle.
Right.
The same power that said, let there be light.
Right.
The same power that raised Jesus from the grave brought you from death to life.
Definitely. That's right.
And that's a joy that, that we should spread with other people.
Right.
I take responsibility because I made the choices. I don't know why I made the choice.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
There's some choices, some things I did. I was like, afterwards, I'm like, why did I do that?
What in the world? How did I get caught up in this?
What's wrong with me?
Right.
But the fact that it was done. So, but I said, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do?
Right.
And I'm reminded of David saying, if I haven't seen the Lord in the land of the living, I would have fainted.
That's right.
So when you go through these spells, he'll show up.
Right. Definitely. He'll do it.
Because you'll in your flesh you'll fall.
Right. That's right.
It's not it's not hard to you get blindsided with some stuff.
Definitely.
But what I learned, a key though, Elder Williams, is be careful what you put in your eyes.
That's it. Amen.
And that's what led me up to wanting to come on your show.
Right.
Because I am a stickler. I'm a champion for these type of shows, entertainment to be on the internet.
Right.
So much foolishness out there.
That's right. That's right.
And now, you know, and as you grow in your ministry, as your network grows, as you get different channels where people can be entertained,
Right.
Or they can watch something that so that's I mean, that's one of the pushes that brought me up here. Watch what I listen to.
Right. That's right.
Some people say, "Oh man, you going too far." Nah, last time I listened to that, I ended up backsliding.
Right.
So let me stay over here. Let me stay over here and block that. I don't want that. You know, I don't want to watch that. You know?
Definitely.
This is why I want to listen. This is what I want to do. I want to surround myself.
Right.
And it makes sense. You know what I mean? Evil company corrupts good habits.
That's it. That's it.
All these.
That's it.
God's word is true.
It is
amazing. And the effect of His love is what I yearn for in the communities where people where there's no program or there's no unity among the churches.
That's right.
Work together to make something happen.
Right.
Whether you know, the numbers are there.
Right.
It's a surprising thing. The numbers in support are actually there.
Right.
When you look at how many people probably have records, or how many people probably have mental illness problems.
Right.
And I'm not saying the church take on, because some things need clinical and physical.
Yeah, definitely.
There's physical and all that. But some issues that we can deal with, there's numbers to support that somebody will support that measure. Or definitely that.
Right.
And then the benefits of these things.
Right. Definitely.
So Elder Williams, that's pretty much that's my part about keeping the faith. And it wasn't for the Lord who was on my side. Right. Where would I be?
That's right. And that's true. Right. That's right.
I thank Him for the time. And this is one thing I can say. I thank Him for the time that I was incarcerated on this last. The other times, but I wasn't saved. I guess that was part of bumping me upside the head, like Israel. I could get back right. And then, you know, what could have happened if I stayed? I could have died.
That's right. But
the time that he allowed His word to penetrate my heart, and He allowed His word to fall on good ground. Right. And the surprising thing, I don't make the ground good. It's Him.
Right. Thank you.
Some people, the word fell on good ground here. The word did something. You know,
it's nothing.
My faith been saved through. You know, grace through faith been saved, not your own work.
Right. So, that's right.
So
it's Him.
When I look to those things, and just how the Lord is just a blessing, man. You know, and I pray that your network continues to be blessed. Definitely. And that you don't get slothful. Right. In endeavor, it doesn't happen overnight. I'm going after my bachelor's degree in religious studies. I'm at a seminary. And so I just got the halfway mark, 60 credit hours right there, right? And so first of all, I'm thankful because somebody diagnosed with my condition shouldn't have made it that far.
Right, that's right.
I'm talking about somebody that really has, these issues. Shouldn't have made it that far with 60 credit hours. Wow. And during that, I made, honor society. I made the I'd had semesters where I made 4.0. Right. So it is because of God. That's it. But now I'm looking like I got another 2 years. Oh man. But the end, then it's worth it. So much obstacles before you get there. Right. Nothing's working right. You're fighting hard. Like, Lord, is it even worth it? Should I stop? Should I quit? My God. And then we, a lot of times we look at the Bible stories because we're reading from page to page. Right. It happened that quick. But Joseph, 20 years. Right. The people, Israel, 40 years. That's right. These people, we talking about years. Definitely. That's right. That's right. Talking about, it ain't come fast enough. Right. But it is hard. That's right. That's right. It is hard to fight the good fight. It is hard to keep the It is hard. That's right. That's right. We know we can't do it without Jesus. That's it, the Lord. You're right. And so that's pretty much what I got to say. Definitely wonderful testimony, and what I saw, man, as you were speaking, anytime a person is gifted and anointed, the enemy's coming after you. You know what I'm saying? And and the key was you stay focused. You didn't give up. And there's somebody out there today. I want you to look in that camera. And what can you tell somebody today? They've been through some stuff. They've been incarcerated. They've been in trouble, and it looked like ain't nothing gonna work in their favor. What can you tell them? That boy, that young man, or
that young woman?
I could say something that my father told me the other day, well, a couple weeks ago, and that was just hold on to a word and a promise out the word. First, you need to know Jesus, and then when you do know Jesus, and that He is real, find you something that you hold on to that's a promise that relates to you. Today time, we have a lot of people, that we're learning more about the theology side and different aspects. But I'm reminded of, like my dad said, about the people a long time ago who didn't have access to all this knowledge. They just held on to one scripture, and that was their rock. And they held on to that rock. Find one to hold on to, and go to that rock, which is Jesus is the word, and go there and find your faith and your strength and hold on. Okay? I mean, Jesus did promise this now. He promised something else. We understand about, these things that's good, but He did promise that there'll be trials and tribulations.
That's right.
He made that clear.
Right.
And as long as we're on this side until He comes back, there's going to be trials and tribulations. But also, I add this: share what you got. I'm not talking about go give your house away, but share what you got. If you got knowledge, if you got time, if you got something you can share to pass on that will help somebody else out, share that. That's important.
Definitely. Once again, man, I want to tell you thank you for coming on, Keeping It Real Talk Show. Somebody was touched, somebody was healed, and just to hear you talk about how you kept the focus. Well, there were times where you could have gave up, but you didn't give up, You could have just folded, We live in a day now where people are folding under pressure, I ain't going to try this no more, I'm just going to give up. But you went from prison to college, you know what I'm saying? You didn't give up, even though you're facing some obstacles.